In natural systems, rainfall and snowmelt get used by plants, travel through the soil to reach underground stores of water, and are directed toward streams, rivers, ponds, lakes, and oceans. In developed areas, roads, parking lots, and roofs limit the amount of water that natural systems are able to absorb. Stormwater that is not absorbed naturally is called runoff. A watershed is the area of land that collects and directs water towards a common outlet point. The U.S. is comprised of hundreds of different watersheds, all draining to different parts of the country. All of the watersheds in Pittsfield drain to Lake Erie. This means that all of the water that falls in Pittsfield Township eventually makes its way to Lake Erie. The primary reasons we manage stormwater runoff are to limit the amount of flooding in developed areas and to reduce the amount of pollution that ends up in runoff. Because the landscape we build limits the ability of natural systems to manage runoff, we build new systems to deal with the quantity of runoff. Also, because pollutants from fertilizers and car byproducts collect in runoff as it moves across the landscape, we use stormwater management to improve the water quality of runoff. Stormwater management is important in Pittsfield Township in order to reduce the amount of flooding that could damage farms, businesses, and homes. Also, because the water that falls in Pittsfield drains to Lake Erie, it is important to improve the water quality of the runoff in Pittsfield. Lake Erie is one of the most polluted Great Lakes and is home to large blooms of algae that thrive when there is too much fertilizer in the water. Algae blooms can kill fish and other aquatic organisms and contaminate drinking water. Once a primarily agricultural area, Pittsfield is now increasingly suburban and urban, which means that more rainfall and snowmelt becomes runoff and harms water quality. Also, if Pittsfield continues to develop according to its 2010 master plan, runoff will need to be managed carefully. To control stormwater in Pittsfield, the township requires that new developments manage the first inch of rainfall on site. The township is also home to a network of county drains that fall under the jurisdiction of the Washtenaw County Water Resources Commissioner, which deals with stormwater for the entire county. An example of so-called gray infrastructure, Pittsfield has 4 major county drains that direct runoff towards the Saline River. These county drains are either pipes, culverts, or natural streams that have been widened to manage stormwater. There are many more county drains in the township, but these 4 drains are the largest and carry the most amount of stormwater. As opposed to pipes, green infrastructure uses the natural ability of plants and soil to absorb water, reduce the amount of runoff, and filter out pollutants. Green infrastructure seeks to mimic natural processes of stormwater management. In addition to providing water quality and water quantity benefits, green infrastructure can be visually pleasing. There are many different types of green infrastructure that vary in relative cost and in their ability to reduce runoff quantity and improve water quality. Examples of small green infrastructure installations are rain barrels and cisterns, which collect small amounts of stormwater but do not filter out pollutants, and rain gardens and bioswales, which are both good at filtering out pollutants but do not hold large quantities of stormwater. Other examples of this type of green infrastructure are pavements that allow water to flow into the ground or roofs that absorb water using plants. Examples of larger green infrastructure installations include detention and retention basins, which collect large amounts of runoff but are not very effective at filtering out pollutants. Another example is constructed wetlands, which are good at reducing both the quantity of runoff and improving the quality of runoff, while also being visually pleasing. Large-scale tree canopy programs that increase the number of trees are also good at reducing runoff quantity and improving runoff quality, while also offering visual benefits. These types of green infrastructure could be installed in neighborhoods, in public parks and lands, or throughout the township. There are a variety of potential options for future stormwater management in Pittsfield Township, with varying costs and abilities to reduce runoff quantity and improve runoff quality. It is up to Pittsfield residents to help determine how best to manage stormwater in the future. One option is for Pittsfield residents to collaborate at the township level to increase the tree canopy in the community. This would likely require residents to plant trees on their property or contribute financially to plant trees in other parts of the township. Depending on the rate of participation, a tree canopy program could provide good quality and quantity benefits throughout the township. It would also make areas of the township more visually pleasing. At the township level, Pittsfield residents could also band together to build large green infrastructures, like constructed wetlands on publicly owned lands and parks within the township. With the potential for building larger-scale installations, this option would likely provide good quality and quantity benefits. It would likely require investment from the township that would be used to improve the parks and public lands in the township. Pittsfield residents could also collaborate to install green infrastructure along the largest county drains in the township. With increased potential for large-scale installations, this option would likely provide good quality and quantity benefits. It would likely require investment from the township, while stormwater professionals organize the work. Pittsfield residents could also organize on a neighborhood level to build green infrastructure in their neighborhoods. Because cooperation at this level would allow for larger and more expensive installations like retention ponds, this would likely provide better quality and quantity benefits than the voluntary green infrastructure option. This would also increase the visual beauty of neighborhoods in the township, but would depend on those neighborhoods organizing themselves to act. Another option is for Pittsfield residents to install green infrastructure on their own property on a voluntary basis. This could include installing rain barrels or building small rain gardens. It would improve stormwater management on individual properties, but would require widespread participation to make a noticeable difference in stormwater management at the township level. One option is to continue with the current system. This would require Pittsfield residents to contact the County Water Resources Office to request service on county drains in response to a problem, but would not require additional township-wide coordination. This course of action may not be effective in anticipating the future demands of stormwater in Pittsfield as the township continues to develop. To sum up, here are the options we have discussed for Pittsfield's stormwater future. We look forward to hearing your preferences in the final stage of our survey.